Good morning, everybody. It's COOLA from Rawstocks. We have another edition of our pre-market prep coming to you live. And yeah, so um, nice move yesterday. Sorry, a nice move yesterday. Big dip down. Look at this hammer to close over the top of our daily forward. This is generally one of the most bullish things you can see. And I mean, just looking at the data that we got this morning, this is clear to me. Let me move my chair a little bit. This is clear to me that should be running. Core retail sales after a GDP print last quarter showing a potential recession. You can see they revised it from negative 0.3 to negative 0.2. But we're seeing core retail sales pop at 0.5%, month over month retail sales at 0.6. So super strong growth on retail sales here, and unemployment claims are actually down. So this print is insane considering what we've seen. Import prices actually are down over their forecast, but up over the previous month. So we're going to have business inventories come out at 9 o'clock, virtually 30 minutes after open, depending on your time zone, right? So this is extremely bullish for retail, for consumer products. So, I mean, you need to be watching this, okay? Moving on. Do a quick shout out to our sponsors, Black Box Stocks and Gamma Edge. Without those guys, we would not be able to provide this data to you every single day. So make sure you guys are supporting them. Go use the discount codes and our links in our bios, and go give those guys some support. Make sure you use our links though, so they know it's coming from us. And yeah, let's get started. So let's take a look at. We already said that we're intact here. Nice hammer recovery candle here for us, showing a close over the top of the daily four. This is generally pretty bullish, and we would see some type of follow through. I'm a little shocked at the hold here, but I have a feeling we're about to find out why that is when we start cracking into the data. And let's look at it. So first thing here is that we're seeing a big push. Hold on. Let's go to a full complex here. You're seeing a big push of starting to see some puts start to come in, right? Some puts are coming in. 60-50 right here, kind of popping. 156,000. But this likely is being sold here because of our net delta here. But I mean, there's a lot. There is a lot going on here. A lot. Some definite hedging going on at these levels. But if we look into today, let's just dive into today. We're in call dominated gamma conditions, and we see currently at, let's just see where we're at. Roughly, okay. We'll flip this over. Let's go to our day trading chart. So yesterday we had this set up. We showed the daily pivot. And then we showed the bottom of our range here, and you saw we opened up here, and we saw let me pull this off. We saw the resistance up here. We saw our support here, and then we saw a support down here. We opened underneath this, which was weakness underneath our daily pivot, and we saw this thing. Hold on. I'm sorry. I think that's outdated. Daily pivot right here. We opened up underneath it, showed some weakness, rolled all the way down into the support level here, and actually had a large sell. Look at this large sell that struck through the bottom of our range. And when we talk about this, when we talk about our expected ranges, when we break outside this range is when volatility spikes and you see massive candles, and we saw exactly that. I mean, look at this drive down to 6,200. We bought right here on a call yesterday. Now, we sold it probably right here, but or maybe it was up here, but if we would have held that thing, it would have been a monster trade. So kind of interesting, but you know, it was just a nice little scalp for us. But that was yeah, we bought literally down here, and that's just buying on a key level, right? There's nothing to that. This was outside of the range. This was just a key level for us, and why would we not take a stab at it right there? So we saw it close right near that daily pivot, and now we're seeing it kind of in this range here. So looking at the data, I got to speed this one up. 62.85 and 62.20. So let's adjust this real quick. 62.85. We're right here again, which is probably why we're being held. 62.85. And 62.20. So a little bit further down on the bottom of the range. Let's move this down. So this is going to cover us for the day. Let's move this over. I'll bring this here. Our daily pivot is going to be 62.65, which is where we're at. Same pivot again, daily pivot. And the ceiling's there. So this is, we have a pull both ways, but there's definitely some, we're in positive net gex here, but it is what I would consider a very choppy little area. And I think that might be contributing to the fact that we're not very directional pre-market. But as of right now, you can see there's draws on both sides. Highest of the day actually being towards 62.20. So it's gonna be interesting to see if this is actually going to try to draw us down, because that is a pretty substantial number. But wouldn't be surprised to see a IC here between 62.85, and that's what we're seeing, 62.85 and 62.20. We could be seeing a condor here looking to hold price within this range. So do not be surprised to see us just kind of bounce in between our range here today. But daily pivot is here. Since we are opening above the daily pivot, you can expect this daily pivot to actually be support. Okay, so monitoring this, you'll see that let's go to SPY real quick so I can show you. My microphone's right in the way of my keyboard. Okay, so we're right above our daily pivot, which is right here, and you can expect to see this something similar here again, but our ceiling is a little bit lower here on SPY, but we'll pull up SPYs so we can look at this. But expect to see that IC there. Full complex on SPY is that we have a very much call dominated position for the full complex. So definitely leaning to the upside, and you can see a pretty substantial upside towards 628 today on SPY. So that you can see that there's a little bit of a difference here. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But 628 is our ceiling here. I'm just going to bring this down just a little bit. 628, yesterday's high, is going to be the containment. Let's roll this over some for today. Well, let's see this. That's support. What was the floor at? 620. So right in this range. So I'll keep that how it is. So opening above the daily pivot, watch this area for a potential move down towards here and see if we want to go and test the high side here. If we do get this, we have to be cognizant that breaking over 628 could induce a squeeze. SPX data doesn't really show that, right? We're seeing more of a condor here. So don't be surprised to see a run up here. This would be an ideal short for you to get that move, even if it just becomes like chasing the day's low, opening above the daily pivot, and we just chase the low here at the open, and then we create some range. That's a possibility. But if we do slip the daily pivot, I would not be surprised to see us run back down into this 622 range. Not at all. So be careful here. But your daily pivot's at 625. No. Daily pivot 622 here. 622 is here. So got a little bit of a contrast in regards to what SPX looks like and what we're seeing here. So SPX is more right here at this support here, but we're seeing a bullish move on SPY here. So this is a buy the dip opportunity being shown on SPY, but it's kind of contradicting with SPX. So we need to be watching this because if we do break yesterday's little close area right here, right, it's probably going to get sold down into the 622 area, kind of what we were seeing talking about earlier with SPX being a little bit higher than that. And so with this case, anywhere near this 622, I think you could start to build some type of long position and see if we can get a bounce back up towards this 625 area and potentially up to 628. But, I love using SPX more than anything on this. So again, watch for this slip here. Slip underneath daily pivot to chase this 62.48. Anything over the top of this, which is where we're looking to open, watch for support off of the 62.65 and see if you want to run back up towards the top of this range. Again, SPY's range is up here towards that key level, but SPX has a big condor here between 62.85 and all the way down to 62.20. So we have some conflicting data. So generally when we see that, we do see that as a chop coming in. All right. So resistance is up here. So you're short up in this range. You could see it pop to SPY's range up here and then see us sold back down. And then you need to make a decision up here. But this is not a bad area for a short. But after that hammer candle and everything, I lean more towards buying the dip at this daily pivot, see if it holds, see it get tested, see if it holds it, and then you could try a little long for a move up towards the top of this range and see if it wants to get over the top. If we do press outside our range, you always got to look for the volatility, just like we talked about with these candles here. Watch that volatility, the same type of squeeze that could drive us up beyond this. But I truly and honestly believe that condor is probably going to lock us up. And we're going to end up the day between 62.85 and all the way down to 62.20. Let's take a look at NVDA real quick. Okay, so call dominated 4.84 million on the net GEX side here. You can see 175 has become the ceiling here. Very, very large wall here. Very large. A big portion of that comes in from this week. You can see that 180 has kind of lost its flavor right here a little bit, and we're starting to see a little bit of a short towards that 162 area. So pull this. Yesterday, we included 175. We saw the expansion was actually 170 yesterday, but based on what we're seeing, 175 was right there. So we expanded our range. Today, we're seeing a hard range at 175. So I'm fully expecting NVIDIA to run up to 175 today. Fully expecting that. Now, it can dip all the way back down towards 165. This is going to be our daily pivot again at 165. So it is a full bullish move up towards there. Decent support at 170 again. But this is more of a, if I had to guess, what we'll find ourselves doing is we'll open on this and we'll probably sell down. We'll come and test this support, and we might see that run up towards 170 at that point. If we don't see that move, then I expect us likely just to run right off of open and go towards 175, and then we find ourselves consolidating like we've seen these expansion days. Big move up, and then we just see a little consolidation or a pullback just like this right here. Again, we might see that at 175 today, but it's the fact of, do we see it run right off the rip, or do we see it press down? Either way, it's not necessarily an ideal setup in the sense that there's no support here at 172.5. Nothing, no large data coming in there. It's just we're all go over 165 right now. So if you do play NVIDIA, try to avoid, this week expiration, because you could get chopped on this. And, premium's a little bit high as we're in the upside of our range here. So you got to keep that in mind and, be okay averaging into this, because right now it's just no glaring setup besides a short at 175. And you just don't really want to go balls to the wall on a short on NVIDIA when we see this thing on an all-go type of setup. Yesterday, we saw the resistance still stand at 320 on Tesla. It was standing here at 320. And we saw multiple times it trying to, explode. And you can see these big candles try to explode off of the 320 breakout. But ultimately, it held right near that range. Today, we're seeing it gap up towards that 325 range. We're going to dial into it and see kind of what we're thinking here. Tesla, full complex, 330 has grown now. Our ceiling is now towards 330 in regards to full complex. So you got to look at that. Look at the expansion into 342. We talked about this a couple days ago, where we see the expansion up to 340. You have your pivot here at 317.5 on the full complex. But let's take a look at this week. So again, pivot is at 317.5. We'll raise this 317.5 right here, and then we're seeing the expansion towards 330. So this is no longer the ceiling. We're seeing expansion towards 300. We'll move the resistance up here towards 330, and the floor has risen towards 310. I'll move our support here. So again, this is kind of like one of those setups here. There's nothing great for you here. Okay. This is a trap, in my opinion, right? Look at the distance between our ranges and where we'd look to get in or sell. Right now we're right set in the middle. So anything in this morning session, unless it really drives up to this 330 range, you're not interested in, okay? Because this is where Tesla burns everybody, right? You're right here. This is where you'd want to buy. This is where you'd want to go short. And this is where you'd want to buy. So if we're open right here, this does nothing for you. You have no edge here, right? You're right in the middle of it. You're looking to go short up here. You're looking to go long here or go long here, right? That's what you're looking for. So we're going to dodge Tesla today. Unless we get to that 330, then we might take a little short on it, okay? But right now, at this range, you're not interested in getting anything in Tesla unless you just want to start building something for that potential move and expansion up towards 340. You can take a look at Tesla on the daily. We're seeing a really tight little roping in regards to moving averages here. And that is, it's generally a we see with Tesla, when we see something like this, it generally comes with some type of move. And we're starting to see expansion in that 340 and 350 area for the call side. And it is a positive net gex here. So is this where we start to see that expansion towards 340? I think it's probably pretty likely. But I don't know if we're going to catch that this week. But I do think that taking like a 350 lotto for next week is not a bad idea. But you need to be cognizant that we need to hold that 310 range. Okay. So looking for a short-term bullish move towards 340 and 350 in Tesla. And then all your wedge boys are going to be coming out and probably drawing something like this here. So that probably puts us into that 345, 340 range probably in the next week. You'll see people probably dialing up something like this right here, right? So yeah, you guys know I don't really play the whole wedge game. I'm just playing levels here, but that's kind of what my expectations are, is that we could come back down into this 310 range, but you have a good opportunity, especially if we get that today, where we come and say, even if we test the pivot down here at 317, it's a good little area to take a stab at some high level lottos, where we could see an expansion to that 330 and 340 area. But you're short near 330 and you don't want to see it go above it. So you go short underneath 330 here, and then you want to see a buy here towards that 317.5. But everything looks good for Tesla to get the expansion up towards that level. So just don't want to get in at where we're at. So to recap, SPX, we have a daily pivot that we're above. This is your area to go long right here, wanting to watch and maintain it. And then you also have a subsection here where we're seeing support right underneath this 62.47. And then we have support down here. So there's a couple different ways you can play this. You can look to go short up towards the top of our SPX range, where we believe the iron condor is. And you're going to start to see people really start to get short here and looking to sell calls and right and to the top of this range for SPY. So watch this area for a relatively decent short, and then your range becomes from up here to targeting our daily pivot. And if we break through our daily pivot, watch for liquidity here at 62.48 to be targeted for the downside. So all in all, everything is a buy the dip. Everything that we're seeing is buy the dip. It's just where you buy it at. Okay, so don't get stuck in the middle. Be patient, wait for the clean setups, and you will capitalize on that. So guys, thank you for tuning in today. This is going to be our plan for today. If you guys are interested in what we do and how we do it, come join us in our Discord. Come join us in the premium, whatever you choose to do. We offer this out to our free members as well as our paid members, but our paid members get the recording of this, and everybody else gets this after the market opens. So on all socials. So if you're interested in that, come check us out. It's rawstocksllc.com. Again, that's rawstocksllc.com, or we have links in the bio. You can go click those and follow it through there. Yeah. So until next time, we'll catch you later. Thanks guys.